Hi, friends. Welcome again to Beyond the Clouds Edge to Edge Transformation. And transformation includes transforming people's lives. And one of the transformers I have met in my life is Monishi Sanyal. Monishi did something very interesting. In the year 2003, he decided that enough is enough. We need to all get together, the Indian Institutes of Technologies, and he brought people together literally and created something interesting. Monishi, tell us about what prompted you to do that. Why did you decide that Pan IIT was a good idea? And what has the journey been like so far?
Well, in 2001, we hit the dot-com bust in the Bay Area in Silicon Valley. Each of the IITs had enough critical mass, so each IIT operated on its own, unlike some of the other locations like Washington, D.C., where they had Capital IIT, and Boston area where they had Sign IIT, which is a combination of all the IITs put together. In 2001, when the dot-com bust took place, we needed to connect with each other, all the IITians. I was at that time the president of the IIT Madras Alumni Association. Anil Shirsagar, who was the IIT Bombay president, he called a meeting of all the presidents and we said, we need to get together. And we were racking our heads about how we do this. Coincidentally, it was the Kharagpur 50th anniversary was coming up in 2002. So I said, why don't we use that occasion to launch a major event that will bring us together? That was a starting point. And then the presidents of all IIT campuses, they asked me to lead that initiative. I immediately set up a steering committee of well-known names because outside of IIT Madras, I was not really known. I got Kanwal Rekhi from Bombay, Rajat Gupta from Delhi, Umang Gupta from Kanpur, Desh Deshpande from Madras, and Purnendu Chatterjee from Kharagpur. And these names immediately brought credibility to the event. It was not like my own private circus. I knew one of the biggest crowd draws would be if he got a really marquee speaker. Right on the top was Bill Gates, because in those days, he was king of the hill. And Rajat coincidentally was on the Gates Foundation. The very next day, he called me up and said he will speak. The most important thing that happened was Kanwal Rekhi had initiated a program with CBS 60 Minutes the year before to cover the IITs. That's how in 2003, January 17th and 18th, first 2 days were the event, and then the 19th was the day when we decided to form the Pan IIT Association. That really was the launch of Pan IIT. And after that, all the presidents agreed that hereafter, we are not going to be promoting our personal campuses. We will promote IIT. After that, at least in the Bay Area, all the alumni started coming together. We used to have cultural events like the Diwali Dhamaka. We used to have picnics, and all these were Pan IIT, that means combined. So a very strong networking thing got off the ground.
I was a part of the first Pan IIT conference. Thank you for bringing everybody together. And after 20 years, what are the biggest accomplishments?
The goals of Pan IIT are different in the US and different in India. In the US, we are one of many universities. We are not the de facto frontrunners like in India. So branding was a major part of the journey. In 2005, the US Congress, House of Representatives, passed Resolution 227, acknowledging the contribution made by IITians to the US economy. Nobody else had ever got anything of that time. From 2010 to 2014, I ran Pan IIT Innovation Summit. Prior to that 60 Minutes, somehow the US public's impression of Indians was the cheap programmers. That changed. The fact that we were entrepreneurs and all that, that changed. And my second goal from 2010 to 14 was to promote India as a innovation destination. So gradually, this thing started happening. And the second goal that we had in the US was networking and alumni services. So we put together many schemes which worked their way in. In India, the goal was nation building. So they had a different track because in India, IIT is number one by far, unlike the US where we have to compete with the likes of Stanford, MIT, Harvard, and all these guys. In India, we don't have that problem. So they had a different set of goals. And we got incorporated separately in the US and in India. And both the associations have moved very strongly. Today, Pan IIT globally has over 450,000 members. It's come a long, long way. In 2017, recovering after open heart surgery, instead of just retiring, I was looking at the next step. There were many entrepreneurs I had referred to, investors and VCs. When I checked with investors and VCs, they said, you're young, budding entrepreneurs. When it comes to technology, IITians are second to nobody. But when it comes to the business side, there are some serious shortcomings. So I said, well, that gives us an initial point of work. And coincidentally, in 2017, I picked up some survey reports which said IITians are the fourth largest unicorn builders in the world after Stanford, Harvard, and Berkeley. I quickly put together a team of 70 mentors and coaches. I was kind of thinking if we can do something, we could bring it to number one. And I think that's the goal we set our sights on. We launched on 18th of January, 2018. On day one, we had over 200 startups that showed up in Silicon Valley. I mean, it was localized here, and a total crowd over 400 people that included investors who wanted to have a look at what was going on. My job really has been to promote the sense of entrepreneurship and doing startups among the alumni. Initially, I was the president of IIT Startups. Today, I'm the chief evangelist. We thought that 200 plus startups was a huge flood. When we opened India in 2021, that was a tsunami because we got a funnel of 3,000 startups. We haven't got around that problem as yet. We have been able to scale up our mentor pool to 120. We're trying some staggering methodologies to address 3,000 startups. It's kind of difficult. The last report in 2019, IITians were the third largest unicorn builders in the world. We'd overtaken Berkeley. And Harvard was just about 4 ahead of us, and we had 27 unicorns after that. I guess we are number 2 right now. In India, more than 50% of the unicorns are from IIT. And I believe the number is close to 77%. It's a problem of plenty. There's just too much out there. To add to that, the government of India took notice of our existence, and now they've piled up on me saying that, why are you restricting it to IIT? We are a nonprofit organization, both in India and in the US, and we mentor free of charge without taking any equity any startup that has at least one IIT co-founder. They said, no, why don't you remove that? Piyush Goyal, the minister, had come here and he asked me the same thing, can't you open it up? I said, look, I just don't have the bandwidth to handle that kind of size, They told me they got 100,000 startups. I said, I can't even handle 3,000 and you expect me to handle 100,000. I said, I will share with you how we do it. We've offered them a train the trainer program. When we run our cohorts, they can send their trainers in to observe how we do it. And then they have to apply their own localized methodologies and train up the rest. I've even suggested a knowledge forum where anybody can post any question that will be addressed by a group of experts, or even among startups that share ideas. The head of Invest India, Nivruti Rai, who was formerly the head of Intel India, she came with a narrow focus of semiconductors, manufacturing, and AI. She said, I'm going to come back every few months to enlarge that scope. She wants the help of IIT Startup and the IIT network, because everywhere she wanted to meet a CXO, I was able to get her to connect with a very high-level person. If the cause is right, or the messaging is right, we'll be able to achieve that. Our goal for IIT startups is to get us to number 1. I don't have a long-term goal because of my age. This is my short-term goal. Hopefully, I exit on a decent note.
It is amazing. I'm grateful that I'm a coach and mentor also at IIT Startups. But one thing I find peculiar about you, you've done so much, the community appreciates it, and you're still up every morning. What keeps you up in the morning every single day? Full of enthusiasm.
I am hyper energetic. I go to bed close to midnight and I'm up at about 6 in the morning. I do have an afternoon nap. I believe I have earned that. I've been fortunate. I've managed to put away some money, so I could be spending my time in the beach in the Caribbean or someplace like that. But I think it's important that we give back. And my mantra with most of the coaches and mentors has been, look, guys, we were educated at the cost of the taxpayers of India who heavily subsidized our education. And we all came out here and made millions of dollars. So I think we owe something back to society. So it is not only that, but training up the next generation of entrepreneurs is another worthy way where we can increase the funnel size of people who become donors or well-wishers of the Indian society, where we can keep building on this.
Indeed. Here's an open invitation. Please come and visit us anytime. We are next to Pebble Beach. I know your love for the ocean. It's amazing to see someone like you who started off as a boxer.
I was the South Asian champion in sculling, which is rowing. Incidentally, at the university level, yes, I did boxing, played soccer, throw the discus, and well, I managed to come off with the governor's gold medal also at the end of my 5-year term in IIT from 1965 to 1970.
That's exactly what I see in real life we are doing with the Pan IIT movement, having scaled many peaks from number 4 to number 2 now, and onwards to number 1, hopefully soon. And thank you for all your contributions. And to people listening out there, I'm always looking for diverse views. Nobody can predict the future, but one thing we can do, we can put a drop in the ocean, and maybe that'll change the nature of the ocean to something more meaningful. Some way it can contribute. Thank you, Monishida. You've been a great inspiration to literally 500,000 people who then go ahead and inspire billions of people. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.